last night, Texas Governor Greg Abbott responded to a comment made about him by Jasmine Crockett.
Comment.
And we're going to show you. Take a look.
Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess, honey.
This is another day and another disaster by the Democrats. The reality is they have no vision, no policy. They have nothing to sell but hate. And Americans are not buying it.
Now, Congresswoman Crockett denies she was mocking Abbott's disability. She says she was referring to his use of trains, planes, and automobiles to transfer migrants around the country. She should not have made the comment at all. But Joy...
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking when I saw this about, where was the outrage from Abbott when Trump was doing this?
Written by a nice reporter. Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. Oh, I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember. Oh, maybe that's what I said.
Well, that was about a reporter named Serge Kovaleski who suffered from a condition that restricts joint movement. And he had interviewed Trump many times in the 80s. So he was basically making fun of the guy's disability. And
All right, I'm going to stop it right there. Folks, this is the fallout from, as you saw in the clip where Jasmine Crockett made the Hot Wheels comment. Jasmine Crockett, she has made multiple comments about Governor Abbott's condition, calling him Hot Wheels. Now, I don't like to get into the whole, policing language and whatnot, but this isn't a good look for the Democrats, though. And it's mainly because the Democrats chose to try to say, we're better than Trump. We don't get in the mud. We don't go low. We don't do this name calling and all the terrible things that we said that Trump was doing. This is them doing it. This is actually, the funny thing, even though this is the big takeaway from Jasmine Crockett, if you had, and I didn't even watch the whole video until I watched the whole video this morning. Well, I was watching someone else react to it, but while I was watching the video, she was actually pushing the rainbow agenda. She was talking about the rainbow agenda and people in your classrooms, and they were talking about rainbow neighborhoods, and it's like, this should be the bigger story, but because she made the comment about his disability, that overshadowed whatever messaging she had in there, or she was talking about in the at that the human at the of all places, the human rights campaign that's supposed to be understanding the people with disabilities.
Look, politics is so childish and stupid now. And I wouldn't expect anything less from The View. I knew they were going to go back and pull that Trump clip. And we can go back and forth with this.
That's
all
what everyone's
day.
going to too.
I don't know if you remember who Senator Chuck Graham is. He used to be from Missouri. I don't think he's active in politics today. He's a paraplegic in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. Joe Biden told him to stand up. And he was dead serious when he said it.
I forgot about that.
He was giving him his flowers, man. Everybody gave him a round of applause and said, Chuck, stand up. Get your flowers. So they say stupid stuff all the time, man.
I know. That's why I hate policing language, but this is not a good look for them. They're not supposed to go stoop down to Trump's level, alleged Trump level.
Yeah. And I have retired from the pro-Black community, and it's allowed me to look at things with a little bit more clarity. But when I look at Jasmine Crockett and AOC and Marjorie Taylor Greene, I don't really see much of a difference. They both kind of present masculine. They're both they're all combative. They don't really hit you at any points. It's just insults. Vote for me because I'm not him. Vote for me because I'm not her. Or I don't think like her. That's all they got. They don't really give me a reason. That doesn't move me anymore. You're going to have to tell me something. You're going to tell me a policy that you pushed or a change that you want to make that's going to benefit people in daily life. Whenever I see her, she's arguing with somebody, and we can't say that the media is making her look bad because we know most of the media leans left. That's been proven time and time
Yeah,
again.
and the media loves this
Yeah, so
trashiness.
CNN is making her look bad too. So we can't use that argument. So I'm simply here to say, what policies do you have that are better than what Trump is doing? Because that's ultimately what we need to ask ourselves. I'm not here to listen to all this extra arguing and these insults and this beach black body build and whatever Marjorie Taylor Greene said about the eyelashes. It's all stupid to me, man. Like, can we get back to, like, one thing I like, I follow Forbes online, right? And the reason why I do, say what you want to about Trump, but every decision that he makes, he will sit and do an interview and explain why he's doing what he's doing. If you don't follow Forbes on YouTube, I suggest you do, because they don't edit or censor their interviews. They let people talk. I don't understand why Jasmine Crockett is doing what she does. She pushes things that are kind of anti-family, which is the last thing we need right now, because it's literally destroying us and making us a joke politically. I'm talking about black people now. And white people, you ain't off the hook, because this is going to happen to you too. Everything that's happening in our family dynamic right now is coming for y'all next. I'm telling you, it is. So I don't see anything anti-family. She wants to take care of people who aren't U.S. citizens.
We should say white liberals.
Yeah, and I'm not really understanding what she's about. Like, everything about her, they say she was a civil rights attorney. I'm not even going to be petty and dive into her tax returns like others have. Like, there's been other people that have dived into her legal experience and things like that. And you can find that online, but all I see from her is just arguing with people. I really don't know what she's about. And yeah.
You know what? What I think she's trying to do is the same thing AOC is trying to do. They are trying to make a name for themselves, and they're trying to go the Trump route without being Trump, because we are starting to see a different formation of the Democratic Party, where we see the progressives and the liberals. They don't get along together. They don't want to work with each other. They're getting mad at each other because they're saying you're not fighting hard. We saw that they went after Chuck Schumer, and they're trying to get Chuck Schumer out in the next couple of years. So the midterms are going to be very interesting. But make no mistake, like, if Jasmine Crockett or AOC, if they get their hands on the Democratic Party, it's done. You guys will never win another election cycle, because for all the people, like, after this past election, and you had all those people that say, like, yeah, we're Democrats, blah, blah, blah. The fact of the matter is, people don't trust y'all, and they do not want to be called racist because they don't agree with something. They want to be called a transphobe because they don't agree with, rainbow folks in the bathrooms with biological women. They don't want to be called, any type of, if they have a Tesla, they want to be called a Yahtzee. Like, there are a lot of things that they may not, be in line with the Republican Party, but they know that the Republican Party promotes family, promotes jobs, and just bottom line, gives you a message that's most Americans can get on board with. That shouldn't be up for debate, honestly. But with the Democrats and with what they're pushing, this is not a good look. And Jasmine Crockett, again, she cannot be the one that says, hey, we're, making fun of someone that's disabled. That, again, I'm not saying I had an issue with it. Like, these people rock out, they say a lot of crazy things to each other, and this is par for the course for Jasmine. But the amount of, like, people, and once we get back to the clip, you're going to see that a few other people actually did not agree with Jasmine. That's the one thing I am surprised that most Democrats have not gone on board with this or not co-signed it. And also, Jasmine, she kind of walked it back. Like, this other thing too, if you really felt the way that you felt, or you thought it was just all jokes or whatever, and they've said crazy things to you, which I know they've said crazy things to Jasmine, butterfly eyelashes and whatnot. I've seen all the memes. I saw the Muppet meme, that Muppet, the Judy or whatever the Muppet name is, Jan. You know which one I'm talking about? The one with the big eyelashes, the Jim Henson Muppet.
Yeah.
Anyways, the point is, they say all reckless things to each other, but you guys have told us that Trump is, I'm trying to censor myself because, YouTube, old boy, Hiller, that guy. You said he was a Yahtzee and everything, but you guys cannot take the morality road. You've lost that a long time ago. And this is exactly what you get. And Jasmine is proving why she can never get the keys to the Democratic Party along with AOC. And AOC is trying to get Bernie to help her sneak in through the back way to, create a blue Tea Party movement. And it's just not going to happen. Jasmine's just these are just terrible candidates, and Jasmine got exposed.
She did. I do want to be fair, because we talked about that exchange she had with Marjorie Taylor Greene. In my opinion, it was self-defense because Marjorie shot the first shot. Now, I don't know how long they've been going back and forth before that, but just to be fair, I wanted to call that out. But I just posted a poll.
Hey, you know what's going to call out? If we let women in the government, it'll be more civil. The majority of the
I never believe that for a
viral
second.
moments, the majority of the viral moments in Congress have been from women. Don't forget about Nancy Mace too.
Yeah, and Nancy Mace she gets a little masculine sometimes too. Again, just to be fair. Here's the Dems apparently have not learned their lesson, right? Because I just posted, the New York Post posted some results from a poll on the top Democrats' favorite challenge in 2028. More than likely, it's going to be J.D. Vance on the red side, right? But if you look at some of the names in there, first of all, Kamala Harris is still number one, and it's not even close. She's like killing everybody else. But Mark Cuban's been thrown out. Gavin Newsom's been thrown out. AOC's been thrown out. And this lady in Michigan, whose name slips my mind right now, they're starting to push her forward too.
Big Gretch.
Is that her name?
Yeah, Big Gretch.
Oh God,
yeah, Gretch.
Call her that, but
or something.
I say all that to say
Gretch. Like
they haven't learned any lessons from this L, and you would think that given the size of the L that they took, there'd be some takeaways here, right? But it doesn't appear that they're ready to pick up on any of those lessons that just laid out on the table. So I'm confused by y'all. I don't emotionally attach myself to politics anymore because y'all all crazy to me. So I'm just going to vote for whoever has the best policies, period.
Didn't hear the outrage then. Not that she's right or wrong.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about her,
should be
she was looking for a way to say hot mess and hot wheel.
Also, look how the gymnastics they have to bend over backwards to justify this or protect Jasmine. This is ridiculous. Just call it out. She was wrong. You can't say anything about Trump though because you guys condemned it. So if she's doing it, have that same energy.
Exactly.
Yeah. And, you should leave that stuff to the comedians.
I think she should just own it because Jasmine Crockett is a very talented politician.
Yeah.
Crockett, sorry. Is a very talented communicator, politician. She's effective. People gravitate towards her. This was beneath her because Marjorie Taylor Greene, we expect that. That's the only way she can get a headline is by.
So Jasmine has a list of saying reckless things. But you're telling we expect this out of Marjorie Taylor Greene. Nobody's saying Marjorie Taylor Greene has been a saint. Marjorie Taylor Greene is the shit starter. I get it. She could be a shit starter. It is what it is. But you got to have that same energy for Jasmine. Jasmine is a shit starter. She's trying to rile the base up, and it's a terrible move. But that's what she's been doing. That's how she's been getting her donations.
And being sassy. And clapping back in a congressional meeting is not a flex. There's nothing about that that's a flex. You're supposed to be the leaders of the damn country, and Congress has turned into damn Real Housewives of Washington D.C. Like there's nothing attractive about any of this at all. I just see a bunch of little kids in there that are leading the country right now who are all doing insider trading, by the way, but that's a different story.
And then everyone looks. Representative Crockett is so much better than this. So I think it would have been really relatable because the rest of that speech, if you watch it, she's really impassioned. She says, I'm going off script. What I love
she didn't have a script.
Say, you know what? I said that. I shouldn't have said that. And then move on because then everyone would move on with her. She's just too good for this.
I agree with that because I respect her, but it's just never okay to mock someone's disability, whether you're Donald Trump or Jasmine Crockett. And he was paralyzed from the waist down, Governor Abbott. And when he was 29 years old, a tree fell on him. It's a tragedy, whether you like him or not. That's just off limits. And I think it raises this bigger point that we encounter in the Trump era where just because he or some people like him go low, if we all go low back in response, then you just end up down in the mud. Things don't get better then. And right now, there's this whole question, like, should Democrats fight harder? Should they name call back? Should they shout? I think they should be strategic. I think they should. I don't think that the names help. I think right now there's a Wisconsin Supreme Court race that Elon Musk is pouring millions of dollars into to get the.
Well, somebody on the View actually said something I agree with. Oh my God, the world is coming to an end.
I was a bit surprised. That's, the funny thing again, the stuff that people should be worried about is what she said after that meeting about pushing the whole agenda and everything. And this is the thing. This is the problem where I have these. I don't want that lifestyle or the whole boys and men and women's restroom. No, you're never going to be able to convince me of that. And that's not the main reason why I vote conservatively. But that is a strong reason. But we got weak men that tend to lean. It's okay with that. But wait till your daughter is in that situation with a boy. But yeah, no, they had somewhat of a tame take on it though. But again, I mean, no one's really calling her out though. I think I got another clip here. I want to say I'm gonna pull up this clip, but did you have another take on
it's
this
just
one
weird
before we move on?
Okay, so look, right? She is a senator from the state of Texas who is insulting and not working with the governor of Texas. You're all serving the state of Texas. You're serving a portion of it, but you're still serving the state of Texas. It's weird to me that y'all can't sit down and have a conversation and get stuff done just because y'all on different sides of
for the
aisle.
American people.
I use this example all the time. Killer Mike. He went and met with Brian Kemp, who was a Republican governor of Georgia, and he got things done. He walked out of that meeting with a banking license and a couple of commitments for reform for the betterment of people in Georgia. Two different sides can sit down and have a conversation. Ice Cube went and sat and had a conversation with Trump about his platinum plan. Most of y'all turned y'all back on him for doing that. But all he did was he kept grinding, and he went and secured a $100 million contract deal for black vendors. Like, what are we doing, dude? This is so goofy.
No, they unfortunately, the stuff that the voter that Jasmine's base and AOC base, that they want, they want some action. They want action in the worst way. That's why none of them have condemned the Tesla burnings and the swastikas that they put on there. That's why this party is headed for a reckoning. They think they're going to have an opportunity in 2028. No, you're not. Not even close. If you guys can't get on board with some of the populist positions, such as, boys in women's restroom or, baby deletion is a state issue, not a government or a federal issue. If they can't get on board with some of those simple things that everyone understands, then they're never going to win. They just won't win at all, unfortunately. And the crazy thing, another thing that was trending this week was the signal leak from the Trump administration, and that I don't think it was that big of a deal. It is a big deal, but I don't think it's big a deal that what the media is making. Jasmine just gifted them like, hey, talk about me now. Like, people were even really people were talking about it, and Jasmine put her foot in her mouth.
She created a distraction, and that would have been a great time for them to attack the Trump administration. And she kind of fumbled it.
Yeah, and before I play this video, full disclosure, someone needs to be fired. I voted for Trump, and I'm happy with most of his picks though. But this signal leak, even though they said there was no classified, there was no war plans, and whatever you want to say, somebody needs to be fired. And so I know they're still doing an investigation, but somebody needs to be fired over this leak. Like whoever added that journalist, you guys added the worst possible journalist ever. And I know somebody's gonna bring up even the Dems are like, well, what about you? Can't talk about Hillary's emails? Yes, he can, because you guys didn't want to arrest Hillary. So if you want to go that route, then Hillary needs to be arrested. Other than that, conservatives and Republicans will handle our own in-house stuff, though. And in my opinion, somebody should be fired, whether that's the national security Tim Walls, or I mean, not my bad, Mike Walls, or whether that's his aid team. Like those are the people that need to be fired. And Mike Walls is starting to look like he might be the one falling on the sword, though. But I'll let them do their investigation.
Yeah.
Trump is mocking a disabled journalist or a POW, or saying we should punch him out. I mean, it is rich. And let me tell you, I have been very, very out there on criticizing Trump for that disgusting, disgusting rhetoric that has coarsened the language.
Also, you notice how they always have to lead with that? That's the first thing they say when they're trying to defend Jasmine. That was over, what, 10 years ago? And they're still talking about it? Like, yeah, he shouldn't have did it. And I know a lot of conservatives did condemn it because it's like, you can't be doing that. But, you know, Trump leaned into it, and Trump does what he wants to do when he did stuff like that. I don't see Trump doing stuff like that now today, honestly. I mean, he made the Pocahontas comment, but hey, Elizabeth Warren put herself out there and said she was Native American. So, you know, I think it's on
I would
par.
argue that Trump was actually more tame this time around because the Dems were so busy shooting themselves in the foot that he really didn't have to do much.
Yeah, Kamala was a disaster on a lot of interviews, though, and he's like, just play the tape.
That's basically what he did. He just held up a mirror.
Yeah.
But they don't see that.
Yep.
I guess.
Nope.
Around politics. It's gross. He's why we got here. And what she did was disgusting. And I am not going to accept her spin of this. It's disgusting and gross to mock someone who is disabled just because you don't like them.
Surprise.
And if Democrats, this is your idea, this is what your party is going to do now, is do Trump, but gross, but worse, and then pretend it's not. I'm not here for this, and please do better. Please, this cannot be the answer for the future of the Democratic Party.
It's the future.
I think actions speak louder than words. And in this instance...
Hey, before I play this clip, see, MC doesn't, you know, he doesn't get a chance to, like, you know, vet some of these clips out. MC, what do you think she's going to say?
I can guess. She's going to take a roundabout approach and defend everything that she did. And I'm going to take a shot if any context of racism comes up at all. I'm just going to take a shot.
I'll tell you this much. The sisterhood ain't no stronger formation of not Voltron, not the MLB union. Nobody is stronger than the sisterhood. Like nobody. Like, you know, Crips Bloods. I'm trying to think of some other stronger groups out there, though. Nobody has a stronger foundation than the sisterhood. Straight up.
Yeah, but
I think we have a president who, when the plane crash happened in Washington, D.C., he blamed it on people with disabilities.
That's a lie.
When RFK says that autism is a threat to the American way of life, which is a disability, apparently the White House has ended ASL, American Sign Language interpreters, and briefing.
I don't know why they're pissed about that.
Inaccessible. Questioning and gutting Social Security, which a lot of disabled people rely on, Medicaid, Medicare, people rely on. And in his first campaign, mocking disability. Two wrongs don't make a right, but actions speak louder than words. And the policies of the Republican, including undermining special education, ID, the Individual with Disability and Education
All right,
Act.
pause it. Now I got to get on my soapbox because this is a personal issue for me. TR, you know I'm quite familiar with autism. They're not losing anything. The only thing that's happening is it's shifting over to Health and Human Services. They're not losing Medicaid.
Yep.
They're not losing funding. The only thing that's happening is it's shifting over to Health and Human Services. That's number one. Number two, the RFK quote about autism, she took it out of context. That is not how he presented it. He presented it as, look, we're not studying this properly. It's happening more and more frequently. Nobody is telling these parents raising these children why, and we got to do something about that. It is affecting the American quality of life. for her to take it and spin it like that is ridiculous, man. And I would stand 10 toes down on RFK because he was warned. When it comes to most issues, I'll stand 10 toes down with RFK. He's warned us for years that the foods that we eat in this country are destroying us and making us worse off. And he was one of the main people pushing back against the Monsanto and the GMC, like the food altering stuff and the red dye and the chemicals. Like, he was one of the main ones pushing that type of stuff. And I don't know why he was, and the Democrats loved him until just a couple of months ago when Trump saw something in him that nobody else did, and he went back and he scooped him up. I don't know where she's getting all this misinformation from, but look, man, I know a lot. I know more about autism than the average person does, and I'm not going to get too much into why I do, but she's taking stuff out of context, and she's making people fearful based on lies, and this is what they're doing right now, and this is why people are leaving your party in huge numbers.
Yeah, and this would have been a great time, and maybe most folks didn't know that about the RFK conversation about autism, though. But somebody should have definitely checked her, though. I mean, for me, though, I didn't know either. But these guys are professionals. This is what they do for a living, and I'm not saying, like, especially Scott Jennings, because he's just been, he's always under fire. But somebody else up there should have been, should properly corrected her. But I know that rarely happens on these CNN panels. But I digress.
Yeah.
Accessible. Those are the actions of this administration. Those are the actions of the Republican Party. I would rather folks be demonizing those things than.
But to be clear, you don't agree with what she said, right?
Well, her explanation was that she wasn't referring to that policy.
So you buy that.
But here's the thing. If you make fun of somebody because of their disability, I do not agree with that. As a person with a disability, as a person who has family members with a disability, as a person who has taught children with a disability, that is not acceptable. She said that's not what she was doing. And so I know Jasmine, and I believe Jasmine if that's what she was saying.
Well, I don't know her yet.
Again, this was another lie that someone should have said. She's made multiple references of calling him Governor Hot Wheels. So she knows about his disability. I don't know why they just let that just walk like some low jacks. Like, this makes zero sense. And so, Van Jones or what's her face, the moderator, she's supposed to be the unbiased moderator, but people should have been calling that out, though, and they never called it out, though, especially with Ashley. The only one that really calls her out on her BS is Scott, but like I said, Scott just lets them like, okay, you guys are going to talk stupid for the next 5 minutes, and I'm just going to just crush you with one or two, 3 words.
Oh, and by the way, Elon Musk is on the autism spectrum, too. He talked about that when he was hosting SNL, and he's been talking about it more publicly ever since. But I think man, they're trying to make people scared, man. This is crazy.
So here's how I see it. She's new.
Mm-hmm.
She's young, and she's trying to find her way. I think that this party is scrambling, trying to seem tough.
They always got these.
I'm seeing this party traffic in a lot of curse words. That's supposed to be like the new cool thing to do. I don't think that's going to be as useful. I've even heard Pete Buttigieg with a whole bunch of curse words. I don't know who gave that memo. I don't think that's very useful. I think you have to be very careful when you're talking about people with disabilities. And I don't think she was careful. And I don't know her enough to say she's not being honest. But I'm going to tell you, it sounded bad. And I just want to finish. I think this party is trying to find a way to look tough and to show fight. But this is not the way. I don't think the cursing is going to work. I think I've been on stage and I've gotten, a little bit hyped sometimes too. I hope that she will take this as lessons. You talked about learning lessons, that type of stuff. It doesn't sound to me like she's actually taking full responsibility. If that's true, I don't like it, and she can't do that again.
I wish these people would just say what they really want to say. Why don't you just say, we don't want any city girls in the White House? Why don't you just say that and just be done with it?
They got to tiptoe around it because Van Jones, I'm surprised he didn't get a lot of backlash over this, and maybe he did. But they got to tiptoe around it. They got to be, they can't hurt. This is such a great, let me let Scott cook real quick.
lesson could ever be learned as long as you're doing these things in front of audiences who roar when you do it. When you have comedians who are broad messengers for the left making
Scott,
unfair jokes and people are roaring, when you
Scott,
have politicians being vulgar and saying what's the lesson?
We're trying.
What's the audience? It says a lot about the audience.
But no, what we're trying to deal with is that Trump has done this and he's been successful.
Yeah.
So when you have some,
I'm going to stop right there. So, this is the thing. They dance around this stuff, and they're afraid. Honestly, you know what it is? They're afraid of Jasmine. They're afraid of AOC. They're probably going to be afraid of Gretchen Whitmer because I forgot about her. She's definitely a viable candidate, but only reason I don't think she'll win because I don't think the Democrats want a white Democrat woman to lead the party because they may not like Trump or conservatives, but they sure don't. After that list, it's white women are on that list. So that party definitely has a problem with white leadership. But this is a very interesting discussion though from the Democrats though, because they recognize that Jasmine and AOC, and this is, you know what? If I was a Jasmine supporter, I would be like, how come you guys ain't got this energy for AOC? How come I'm getting the one called out? Because she plays victim a lot though, but she would be in her right though, because AOC has pretty much all but, she hasn't condemned the Tesla bombings, but she's been kind of on board with stuff like that. She's been kind of promoting things related to violence. And so, and Jasmine's done the same thing too, though. But if I was Jasmine, I would be like, hey, I'd pull that out and be like, hey, how come you guys ain't bringing that up? How come you're not all worried about her doing these cross the country tours, talking about how Elon is a Yahtzee and everything? How come you guys aren't having that conversation though? If I was on that side, that's what, Ashley, she should have brought that up though. Like, y'all ain't saying nothing about AOC. Like, this is the problem with the Democratic Party. The only thing they have in common is their hate for Trump. You take that away, they don't really like each other. There's a reason AOC and Jasmine don't campaign together or have been seen in the same room outside of political situations. They don't like each other. And there's going to be a point where when it comes down to figuring out who they're going to vote for, because I definitely think Jasmine's trying to run for president, but also AOC is trying to run for president as well too. Americans are going to have to decide, or the liberals are going to have to decide which devil do they want though, because they're both bad and they're going to lose the party. No white man is going to be able to run, and I doubt any. They cut so many of the men, the black and white men. None of those men are going to show up to the ballot or get on the ticket.
They're not going to win by going further left. Here, let me extend an olive branch because let me help the Democrats out.
If it's possible.
Let me help the Democrats out real quick. Apple, SoftBank USA, Nvidia, Hyundai, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, a conglomerate of 5 other tech-based companies have all committed to investing billions into the United States in the next 5 years to create jobs and to give people higher competitive salaries and bring manufacturing back to the United States. You want to take down Trump and Vance, you need to go after why that's bad. Is it bad, first of all? And if it is, I need you to tell me why. And I need you to tell me how you are going to create jobs and competitive wages for the average person. There's a reason why the head of the Teamsters Union didn't endorse anybody. He knew where y'all was going, but he didn't want to commit to the Republicans either. How are you going to counter all of these people that said, we're going to build in the United States and invest trillions of dollars because we don't want to pay Trump's tariffs? And he told us to get around these tariffs, just build in the United States and hire people in the United States. How are you going to counter that? Please tell me.
Right. Yeah. They don't have an answer for any of this stuff though. And, when it comes down to it, the Democrats are trying to, the Democrats want to do what MAGA did to the conservatives. They want to get rid of all the establishment Democrats and start running the party by how they see fit. The problem is that most of the conservative, what's perceived as conservative policies are really, centrist policies. Like, most people agree with this. There's really no debate on some of the things that conservatives want to some of the policies on conservatives. They just don't like it because Trump is pushing it. And so that's why, and that's another reason why they're going to keep losing votes, though. They might tell you on social media, they might tell you at the protest, but at the end of the day, they're still going to vote what's in their best interest. And right now, the conservatives are giving you something of interest.
People will lose their minds when I say this, but both Trump and Vance are moderates. They don't care about gay marriage. They really don't care about baby deletions. They wanted the states to manage it. Matter of fact, you could argue that they're both socially liberal. They don't care. So
yeah, I'm gonna say populist moderate, but
populist moderate. Okay, I'll accept that. Populist moderate. But you don't. America put the whole world on notice, right? That we are not a liberal country. We're not a conservative country. We are a centrist country. And everybody seems to understand that except for the Democrats right now. They're talking about going even further left. AOC is about as far left as you can get, but she's right there in the conversations for possible presidential candidates.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, that should, I mean, it's either it's Kamala or it's going to be AOC or it's going to be Jasmine. No men are going to get to that ticket. The only way that men will get on the ticket is going to be on a as a VP, and it ain't going to be no black man that gets on there if it's if the person is black or Latino or Latina or whatever. It's going to be a white man that gets put on that ticket. This is the playbook from the conservative or from the Democratic Party, though. It's easy to tell what they're going to do next and how they're going to operate, though, because they try to act like they're morally superior than everybody else, and they really aren't. So
there's one Dem who has a lot of common sense, but they're not listening to him. John Fetterman from Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah, Fetterman. Yeah, Fetterman. I mean, the crazy thing is, so Fetterman had a stroke, and he came back into the office, which I thought that was really weird because you recover from your stroke within 6 months. I mean, credit to modern medicine or whatnot, though. But Fetterman's definitely has had the conversation, or at least he hasn't been fully Democrat, I guess, or deranged, I should say. But Jasmine went after him about him and his clothing, and I will say, we probably expect people that work in Congress to be in suits. Fetterman doesn't do it. He says because of, what happened with him with his stroke or whatnot. I don't even know, but they changed the rules for him. But that's another person that she went after when it came to like a mental disability that no one else brought up too, though. So yeah, there's another thing that Jasmine, she, you get in her way, you're going to get steamrolled, apparently.
History shows that any Democrat who's even approaches the center gets pushed out and they eventually become Republicans. You just lost your biggest fundraiser in Lindy Lee because she was a centrist and y'all decided that wasn't good enough and y'all pushed her out. Your biggest fundraiser is now a Republican.
Yeah.
That's after you lost Tulsi Gabbard. That's after you lost RFK. Who else are you going to lose?
Elon. Yeah. Elon was a centrist. Elon wasn't even a conservative. I don't know if conservative is the right way to, like I said, most of the conservative policies are not related to, are not like traditional conservative policies. Essentially what they are is, these are like table discussions that most families can get on board with, though. So, but yeah, I mean, all right, I think we beat this one. Pause. Last point, MC.
That's it for me, man. I just stop emotionally attaching yourself to politicians. Take the emotions out of it, step back and look at what they're doing, not what they're saying, and make your decisions based on that. That's all I ask. And then we can finally sit down and start solving some real problems if we all start to do that.
Yeah. I agree. So, oh well. All right. That wraps up this episode. Hopefully that also wraps up our technical issues. So we'll try to get back to our normal schedule, everyone.
Peace.